In a world where relationships shape us deeply, join me as we discover the lessons love has to teach us. Chloe resided alongside her grandmother in a quaint town enveloped by a lush forest. The natural beauty of the surroundings was nothing short of splendid, and the young girl delighted in her early morning dashes to the river for a refreshing swim. These invigorating swims not only maintained her slender figure but also uplifted her spirits. She continued this ritual until the latter part of autumn. However, a cloud of sorrow descended upon her when her beloved grandmother passed away. Chloe found herself engulfed in tears, her grief seemingly unending. Consequently, she abandoned her river excursions, the once joyous activity now devoid of its former allure. Meanwhile, in the same village, a young man named Daniel emerged. His parents had dispatched him there as a form of chastisement, as his behavior had spiraled out of control. He exhibited a penchant for truancy, directed insolence towards his parents, and frequently indulged in revelries with his companions within the family estate. In a bid to temper his arrogance and prompt a reflection on his conduct, it was resolved that he would spend the summer at his grandmother's countryside abode. Yet, the rural setting seemed to have no transformative effect on Daniel's demeanor. Fate led him to cross paths with Chloe, and he commenced a courtship. The girl, having been shielded from male attention until now, embraced his advances with an unguarded heart and found herself smitten. Their shared experiences led to nocturnal strolls that extended until the break of dawn, serenaded by the melodies of nightingales and the gentle murmur of the river. However, as life unfolded, Chloe discovered she was with child, prompting her to entertain the notion that Daniel would fulfill his expected role by marrying her. Regrettably, when Daniel was informed of the impending parenthood, he brusquely declared the end of their relationship. He callously stated that he could not envision himself marrying a naive country girl, fearing mockery from his acquaintances. With little regard, he bid his farewell and departed from Chloe's life. Fury coursed through Chloe's being, causing her to tremble with resentment. Tears cascaded down her cheeks, and she found herself adrift, uncertain of her next steps. Her familial foundation had crumbled, with no remnants of her mother, who had long passed away, her absent father, who had departed before Chloe's birth, or even her cherished grandmother. The scene shifted as Daniel's parents arrived in the town, driving an opulent jeep that contrasted with the environment they had left behind. As he eagerly departed from the detested town, whispers of Chloe's pregnancy rapidly permeated the community. Gossipy neighbors conversed in hushed tones behind her back, and following many tearful moments, she was left with no alternative but to gather her meager belongings and embark on a journey to the city. Upon concluding her high school education, Chloe leveraged her seamstress skills to secure a position at a local sewing factory. This occupation provided her with a modest livelihood and, crucially, a place to reside within a dormitory for a nominal rent. The room she inhabited exuded an air of pleasant brightness, having been thoughtfully renovated. Adjacent to the dormitory, a splendid library boasting a reading room awaited, affording Chloe access to a computer where she could immerse herself in her studies. Recognizing the burgeoning importance of computers in shaping the world's future, she dedicated her nights to diligent exploration of computer graphics, often burning the midnight oil. Initially, her pursuits were fueled by self-guided learning, but as her passion grew, she invested in formal lessons. Her aspiration was to accelerate her grasp of this field, given its lucrative potential and captivating challenges. Despite living a frugal existence, Chloe managed to accumulate savings by foregoing indulgences and declining her colleagues' invitations to outings. Through prudent saving and a loan from her friend Ruth, she pieced together the necessary funds to realize her educational ambitions. Chloe embarked on a comprehensive 3D graphics course, delving into the intricacies of crafting virtual objects and characters for games. Despite her lack of prior exposure to computer gaming and her initial uncertainty about her aptitude, an advertisement on a bus spurred her to set a resolute objective of mastering this skill. After several months of dedicated effort, Chloe earned herself a well-deserved training certificate, marking a milestone in her journey. With a foundation of knowledge she deemed sufficient, she endeavored to secure a position as a 3D artist, but with a unique constraint. The impending birth of her baby necessitated a remote job, which added an extra layer of complexity to her search. Finding suitable opportunities proved to be an arduous challenge, as potential employers were reluctant to accommodate part-time arrangements. Although Chloe had a desire to continue her work at the sewing factory, due to her fledgling status as a 3D artist without prior experience, she recognized the need to transition into her new field. Fortuitously, her perseverance bore fruit, and she eventually uncovered an ideal role. However, this transition necessitated her to take out a loan to procure a computer and establish an internet connection. Initially, her foray into her new career was fraught with setbacks. Lacking comprehensive knowledge and practical experience, Chloe confronted a steep learning curve. She was compelled to engage in rigorous self-study, often devising solutions independently. Driven by her diligence and a sharp memory, gradual progress began to emerge from the initial chaos. In due time, Chloe's resilience paid off, yielding tangible advancements in her skills. Amidst this period of transformation, Chloe's life underwent another significant change as she gave birth to a baby boy, whom she affectionately named Isaac. Isaac, the newborn, exhibited robust health and an expressive voice, yet following each feeding, he would serenely settle down, sparing his young mother any disturbances. A mere few months postpartum, Chloe embarked on a creative journey, producing interior design elements, models for advertising websites, 3D merchandise for online retail, and characters destined for the realm of computer games. Her talents extended beyond character creation, encompassing a discerning flair for aesthetic harmony. This multifaceted proficiency was met with high regard from her employer, who particularly appreciated Chloe's newfound punctuality and rapid work pace. The newfound income bolstered her financial independence, opening up possibilities for securing a permanent residence. However, for the time being, Chloe elected to continue residing within the dormitory, feeling a sense of acclimation to her current surroundings. Chloe's neighbor, Ruth, herself a young mother, extended a helping hand with Isaac. Amidst Chloe's computer-bound work routine, punctuated primarily by breaks to tend to her son's needs, Ruth, also a mother to a child of similar age, assumed caretaking duties during the remaining intervals. The arrangement was not devoid of its challenges, but Chloe maintained her determination, diligently working through fatigue. Despite Ruth's persistent refusal to accept payment for her services, Chloe remained resolute in expressing her gratitude through financial compensation. Recognizing that her ability to persevere through demanding workdays while tending to her son was significantly due to Ruth's aid, Chloe consistently acknowledged this crucial contribution. At a pivotal juncture, Chloe found herself summoned to the company's office, an event that stirred her nerves. The cause of her unease was revealed: a satellite office of the company, located in a different city, was facing considerable challenges. Amidst the company's struggle, deadlines went amiss, and personnel were departing in droves from the case-making department. The incessant staff turnover hampered any attempts at establishing an organized workflow. Having recognized Chloe's remarkable prowess in 3D modeling, coupled with her innate leadership qualities, upper management deemed her a fitting candidate for advancement. Consequently, they selected her for a pivotal role, appointing her as the head of the art department within a branch office. Initially, this prospect plunged Chloe into a state of panic, as she had never ventured into such territory before. Doubts emerged, and she grappled with the fear of not measuring up to the task at hand. Moreover, contemplating how she would manage life in an unfamiliar city with her young child further compounded her anxieties. In response, Chloe's superior offered her reassurance, affirming her competence and capabilities for the new position. Bolstered by the rapid maturation of her professional expertise and her wealth of experience accumulated in a short span, Chloe found the question of accommodation promptly resolved. An apartment had already been arranged for her in the city, providing a suitable residence for both her and her son, alongside the presence of a nanny. While uncertainties lingered, Chloe's internal turmoil was unexpectedly quelled. A newfound resolve emerged, prompting her to embrace the notion that venturing into this uncharted territory was worth a try. As the prospect of failure held minimal consequence, she could always return. As she contemplated the journey ahead, a thought surfaced: what if Ruth, her steadfast neighbor and almost a sister-like figure, were to join her? Ruth's husband's work schedule, involving a 6-month rotation away from home, seemed to align with this possibility. The idea of companionship and mutual support was enticing, especially considering Ruth's significant role in Chloe's life. Besides, Ruth had become an integral part of Chloe's journey, witnessing firsthand how smoothly things had been unfolding. Contemplating the horizons that stretched before her, Chloe marveled at the unforeseen opportunities that had emerged, possibilities that may have remained elusive had she followed a path that included marriage with Daniel. Imagining herself confined to domestic routines, cooking, child-rearing, and waiting for her husband's return from work, she recognized the vastness of what she would have foregone. This realization brought forth a sense of gratitude for her current trajectory. Upon her return home, Chloe engaged in an open conversation with Ruth, bearing her thoughts and considerations. Ruth, in turn, sought counsel from her husband, and within a matter of days, 2 young women, accompanied by their sons and a modest array of luggage, embarked on a journey to the new city. Over the course of 7 years, Chloe embraced her role at the branch with remarkable success, deriving immense satisfaction and happiness from her work. She orchestrated contracts, orchestrated negotiations, and adeptly supervised departmental operations. While her outward appearance remained relatively unchanged, her inner transformation was profound. Chloe evolved into an empowered individual, characterized by her strength, independence, and an unwavering commitment to excellence in both herself and others. Ruth, after the birth of her much-anticipated daughter, established her residence close to Chloe, settling into a spacious 5-bedroom house. Her days were devoted to her children's well-being, while her husband continued to maintain shift work to provide for the family. Ruth, in her familiar caring manner, often chided Chloe for her intense focus on work, reminding her to nurture her personal life, go on dates, and revel in the delight of receiving flowers from potential suitors. With a light-hearted tone, Ruth playfully brushed off any notions of romantic pursuits, asserting that her cherished and sole companion was her son. She jested that, in due time, he would be the one to present her with flowers. Chloe, however, remained focused on her responsibilities, taking these comments in stride. On a particular day, Chloe journeyed to the company headquarters for a meeting, enlisting a taxi from the airport. Lost in her own thoughts during the ride, she failed to notice the intense scrutiny of the taxi driver. Her astonishment was palpable when he addressed her by name, revealing himself to be none other than Daniel, the same Daniel who had callously severed their connection 9 years prior. As Chloe locked eyes with him, her mind whirred with disbelief. Here was the man who had once been a part of her life, now resurfacing in the unlikeliest of places. Without hesitation, he extended an invitation to meet at a cafe, suggesting they engage in conversation, reminisce about the past, and perhaps even contemplate a fresh start, based on their love for each other. However, Chloe's response was composed and resolute. She dismissed Daniel's proposition with a serene smile, asserting that her current circumstances were entirely fulfilling, rendering any return to the past unnecessary. Inwardly, Chloe comprehended the truth: Daniel's affections were directed solely towards himself, and her feelings for him had transformed into a sense of compassion. Sharing these sentiments with an astonished Daniel, Chloe settled her fare, offered a nod of farewell, and gracefully disembarked from the taxi. Her decision to withhold any mention of their shared child remained intact, as even now, Daniel displayed no curiosity about the matter. While Daniel observed Chloe's departure, he harbored a hopeful thought: if she were to look back, perhaps there was a chance for them to rekindle their bond. In his mind, he believed that a simple country girl like Chloe could not have undergone such a radical transformation, cutting him out of her life entirely. Certainly, Chloe was now reaping considerable financial success, and the prospect of rekindling their relationship must have seemed appealing. However, as Chloe reached the entrance of the office building, she strode in resolutely, refraining from casting a glance backward. In contrast, Daniel remained rooted in place, a silent hope lingering that Chloe might soon re-emerge, needing another cab. Gazing mournfully at the window that marked her entry, he contemplated the trajectory of his life, one that had veered away from the desired path. There was a time when he had known affluence, but his family's fortune had unraveled after his father's dismissal, leaving them bereft of their former wealth. In stark contrast, Chloe's life, once marked by simple beauty and a rustic abode in the countryside, had taken a turn for the better. She now stood in a position where she could afford to hire his services, looking down from an elevated perch, then walking away without a second glance. Amidst his melancholic musings, Daniel's reverie was interrupted by the voice of the operator, who relayed a new assignment. With a bitter undertone, Daniel shifted his focus and set out to meet the next passenger, casting aside the shadow of his unhappy reflections. And that's the end of my story. I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to it. If you did, please show some love by liking this video and subscribing to my channel. I post new stories every week, so don't miss out. And if you have any questions or comments about this story, feel free to leave them below. I always appreciate your feedback and support. Bye for now.